All right, let's take a look. Oresteia formalist essay. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Help me out here. Okay. Take a look at this. Let's listen to the. Let me just read the intro. Okay? In this trilogy, in the trilogy of Oresteia, the theme of justice is ongoing and acts as an avenue for various characters to seize power while concealing the truth about their true motives for continuing to slaughter their own family members. Now, part of that sentence is actually, I think, pretty good. I think it's the part from acts as on. But that opening there, notice what he did with that linking verb, is ongoing. That doesn't really tell you a lot, you know? So you've only got so many chances to make a good first impression on your reader. And this one, I think, didn't take advantage of that. Notice now I get to my second sentence. There are, right? Numerous instances when the theme of power is evident. Notice we're really relying heavily on linking verbs here. And we're not actually saying that much. And now we get this kind of odd instance of a quote here. As stated by Collard, Clytemnestra refuses Agamemnon a proper funeral. You see my point here. Why is this quote here? Right? What is that exactly doing there? Clytie wishes not to mourn the death of Agamemnon, but rather forget he ever existed in the process, completing the transition of her becoming the ruler of Argos. Not entirely clear what the thesis is in that paper. And notice the one thing I really want from you guys with a good essay is that a good introduction should lay out what is actually the argument. Okay? This one I've chosen as an example. First of all, it's kind of a wordy intro. You can just tell by the length of it. I mean, the first thing I think to myself when I see this is I'm like, whoa, for 750 words, that's a lot of space to spend on your intro. But take a look at this. I'm going to start reading from down here. It is only through Athena's power of persuasion that she is able to convince the Furies of her authority and determination, suggesting that she is yet insecure in her powers as a designer of justice. Notice what we can do. What if we just do this, guys? Instead of it is only, how about through Athena's power of persuasion, comma, she convinces the Furies of her authority and determination. That's pretty good. And now we can get rid of the linking verb here. Now here's the reason I'm showing you this one is take a look at this thesis. Athena, the young god, signifies a change in the Greek culture of vengeance that was prevalent throughout the play. Another linker there. Seeking to end the old idea of the cycle of vengeance and replace it with a justice system that commands less blood. Now, why did I write here pretty straightforward thesis? Why did I write that? What's pretty straightforward about this thesis? Miles? It doesn't really take you anywhere. Angel? It's not really talking much about the formal elements. Stu D? That's actually my biggest concern with this. Who would disagree with this? I think to have a good thesis, there's got to be a potential opponent. And is anybody going to say, no, actually, I don't think Athena signifies a change in the Greek conception of justice, right? That's problematic. That's problematic, okay? So that's what I mean when I say things like pretty straightforward thesis. Or if I say something like need a stronger thesis, that's what I mean. Your thesis really wouldn't find any opponents. Let's take a look at this one. In several dramatic gestures, women in the Oresteia violently uproot order, murdering, coercing, scheming, and invoking curses as they leave Greece in shambles. Damn, how much is happening in that opening sentence? I'm pumped. Violently uprooting, murdering, coercing, scheming, invoking, leaving in shambles. Sign me up, dude. That's a great, look at how much that action captures a reader's imagination and attention. A climate of dissonance and unease accompanies these deeds and pervades the trilogy. Whoa. You could have said, there is a climate of dissonance and unease, and I would have crossed it out, right? You could have said that. But notice, a climate of dissonance and unease accompanies. Damn, that's pretty good. A conventional Greek understanding of fertilities entails the sublime qualities of nature or beauty of childbirth and gestation. Aeschylus's interpretation seems to portray it as the opposite, rather the birth of malice, paranoia, and social disorder. Guys, look at that. In 3 sentences, in 3 sentences, do you have a feeling for what this paper is going to argue? Do you have a good sense of wanting to read it more? I do. Let's take a look now at the thesis statement. The recurrence of fertility imagery and femininity to incite a state of mental and societal dissonance acts as a foil and an element of the plot that exemplifies the function and necessity of organized justice. Can you identify an X and a Y and the causal connection there? Yeah, the X is the fertility imagery and femininity, and the Y is the mental and societal dissonance and the function of organized justice. And it's going to start getting me a connection there. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, right? I think that was an argument that certainly was debatable. Yeah, Oliver? The first paragraph didn't really execute, the first body paragraph didn't execute quite the promise of the thesis, but it really caught its stride in body paragraph 2 and 3. Okay. The use of persuasion in the Oresteia. Very vague title. During ancient Greek times, the use of persuasion was beginning to take shape. It was during these times that philosophers would argue and debate about the phenomenon of everyday life, and in the end, the person that persuaded the crowd won the argument. Like, begins every paper ever. It's very general. It's very general. Well, first of all, do you have any idea what this paper is going to be about? I do have an idea that in ancient times people argued with each other. Like, I've got that. Okay. All right. Let's see. We got time for one more here. Okay, here's one. Okay. The Oresteia proceeds in detail with the story of Agamemnon from the end of the Odyssey, which actually isn't accurate. It doesn't come at the end of the Odyssey. Aeschylus creates a constant sense of mythological chaos in every line of the Oresteia that allows the audience to jump right into the action at the beginning of Agamemnon with a summary from the watchman of Agamemnon's long-awaited return from Troy and Clytemnestra's plot to kill him. That's a lot of summary to start with. As the audience begins to play in the middle of the action, notice I'm halfway through the intro and I still haven't gotten a sense for the argument. I'm only getting a sense for where we are in the story. Okay? This process begins with the breaking of an anathema, such as cannibalism, incest, and in this case kin-killing, followed by the culprit's fall to his or her ultimate fate, which creates dramatic irony throughout the trilogy. Starting in Agamemnon, the kin-killing arises in the king's killing of his own daughter. Do you have a good sense for what the argument is? No. There's some potential here. I feel like with some clarity, this could go a good direction. Okay. So that brings to our close our second